Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Before we start, let me inform you that, as usual, the Bureau met again in the morning. As regards our timetable, we are still on time, but I hope that we will be in possibility to proceed even ahead during today's meeting. Let me remind you that yesterday we managed to examine 16 nominations submitted for inscription in the representative list. From 16 we examined 14 were inscribed and 2 were referred. We still have 12 more nominations before coming to the next item and completing the agenda 8 with the overall citation. Then we will pass immediately to item 9A and 9B on the establishment of the consultative subsidiary body for the 2014 cycle of inscription and the adoption of the terms of reference. We had brief discussion. I will give you information before discussion of this matter. For today's session, I will again ask you to be brief and concise in your intervention in order to move forward quickly with the many discussions that we still have to adopt. But before we start, I would like to greet, on behalf of all of us, the presence and participation of the former Director General, Mr. Koichiro Matsuura, here in our hall. Mr. Matsuura is considered to be one of the fathers of the convention, which is celebrating its 10th anniversary today, and it's a matter of our great pride and honor to have him among us. So we consulted and decided that after the finalizing of the inscriptions, we would ask him kindly to address to our committee, and we will definitely be very glad to hear his opinion, recommendations and ideas, which were always valuable for world cultural and educational and whatever combined in UNESCO ideas during his leadership, which is very positive, successful, and brought us to quite a new step of the relationship within UNESCO and UNESCO position in the world. So once more we greet you, Mr. Matsuura, and we proceed to the business. We have to proceed to the draft decision 820, and I would ask the chairperson of subsidiary body, Mr. Sconti, to give us his report.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mesdames et Messieurs, bonjour. La candidature que vous allez examiner maintenant est présentée par la Mongolie, l'artisanat traditionnel du guer mongol et les coutumes associées. Le guer mongol est une structure ronde composée de murs, de perches et d'un plafond rond recouvert de toile et de feutre et fixé à l'aide de cordes. Il est assez léger pour être transporté par les nomades, assez souple pour être plié et emballé, assez solide pour être régulièrement monté et démonté. L'artisanat du guer mongol traditionnel est une entreprise communautaire dans laquelle des hommes s'occupent de sculpter le bois, tandis que des femmes et des hommes peignent, cousent et confectionnent le feutre. L'enseignement de l'artisanat du guer mongol est dispensé par des artisans plus âgés sous la forme de mentorat. Lors de son évaluation, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que cette candidature démontrait que tous les critères avaient été satisfaits. L'organe subsidiaire a surtout apprécié la capacité des détenteurs de l'élément à adapter leurs techniques aux évolutions de leur environnement dans un contexte actuel de changement climatique et de transformation environnementale, témoignant de la créativité humaine. Il recommande donc que l'artisanat traditionnel du guer mongol et les coutumes associées soient inscrits sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you. May I address to the committee members if there are any proposals or objections or ideas concerned with the inscription of this file? Don't see any. The decision 8.20 from Mongolia is inscribed. May I give the floor to the representative of the state, please? Mongolia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairperson of the Subsidiary Body, distinguished delegates, members of the Subsidiary Body, let me once again express on behalf of the Mongolian herders, people of Mongolia, sincere gratitude and thanks to you for your encouraging decision that enables inscription of traditional craftsmanship of Mongolian gear and its associated customs to the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The inscription will, of course, raise the importance and benefit of Mongolian way of living in harmony with nature, a way of nomadism. This heritage is not only the invaluable cultural heritage of nomads with many thousand years of history of Mongols, but it is also an inseparable part of the cultural heritage of humanity, which enriches the world's culture diversity. The generations of nomads, their knowledge and skills in distinct techniques of the craftsmanship, minutely designed to meet all natural environmental living requirements. The gear is the expression of thinking, which the basic heritage of all cultures, customs of Mongols. With this inscription, we duly recognize our duty and responsibility to protect, safeguard the heritage now belonging to humanity. And I am quite sure that Mongolian people, Mongolian herdsmen, would be very much able to do so. We will take note all inspiring words, comments, advices raised during meetings. I would also to thank the government and people of Azerbaijan for hosting the meeting and excellent organization, for giving us this opportunity to celebrate together the 10th anniversary of the convention. Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We again congratulate Mongolian delegation with the inscription, and we are coming to the item 8.21 submitted by Nigeria. Please, the chairperson of Subsidiary Body, Mr. Sconti, the floor is yours.
Merci, Monsieur le Président, de me redonner la parole pour introduire la candidature présentée par le Nigeria, le festival de mascarade EO. Le festival de mascarade EOS est célébré en l'honneur de la divinité Adamo Orisha et marque le passage des âmes dans le monde des esprits. Les danseurs défilent dans la ville. Ils sont vêtus de robes blanches, fluides et recouverts d'un voile, et ils portent une canne. Chaque danseur porte un grand chapeau en paille colorée qui différencie les chefferies auxquelles ils appartiennent. Transmis au sein des groupes EO, le festival rassemble la communauté, réunit toutes les couches de la société et rend hommage à l'Oba, le roi de Lagos. Lors de son évaluation de cette candidature, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré qu'il démontrait bien que les critères R1, R2, R4 et R5 étaient satisfaits. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont été unanimes dans l'appréciation du fait que l'inscription de l'élément pourrait favoriser le dialogue entre les communautés et promouvoir le respect mutuel, particulièrement important dans un pays multiethnique et multilingue. De plus, la manière dont les communautés et les parties prenantes ont participé à l'élaboration de la candidature a pleinement convaincu l'organe subsidiaire. Cependant, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que les critères R3 n'avaient pas été satisfaits. Nous avons estimé que les mesures de sauvegarde étaient trop générales et vagues, manquant d'objectifs clairs pour assurer la viabilité de l'élément, particulièrement sur les éventuels effets nocifs à la suite de son inscription. Nous avons trouvé que pour ce critère, mais aussi pour d'autres, la qualité de la candidature aurait pu être améliorée, en particulier si l'État soumissionnaire avait profité pleinement du nombre de mots autorisés à chaque rubrique pour mieux nourrir les réponses. En outre, l'organe subsidiaire souhaiterait inviter l'État soumissionnaire à envisager l'élaboration de mesures visant à limiter les possibles risques d'une commercialisation excessive. L'organe subsidiaire recommande donc, Monsieur le Président, que le festival de mascarade EIO ne soit pas inscrit sur la liste représentative à ce stade. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much. This is their recommendation, which, as far as I understand, not to inscribe. But are there any opinions, comments from the committee members? China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. According to China's experience, the safeguarding of traditional festivals these days is indeed an important and urgent issue and always poses a big challenge for the communities concerned. So in this context, China shares the same concerns with the safeguarding measures proposed by the state party Nigeria, that we hope the floor could be given to Nigeria to let them further elaborate on R3. Thank you.
Thank you. Brazil, please.
Thank you, Chairman. So, Chairman, first of all, Brazil would like to commend Nigeria for putting forward this nomination. And this festival, the roots of this festival are common to many of traditions that are present to date in Brazil from African origins. So we recognize many elements of our own culture in this festival, which already contributes to intercultural dialogue. Mr. Chairman, concerning criteria 3, we found perhaps a bit of contradiction. We're not altogether sure if there is contradiction in the report itself from the subsidiary body, because it says that the nomination does not describe concrete safeguarding measures at the community level or at state level, but then at the same time it says that at least at the state level for criteria 4 and criteria 5, it says that it's represented by a number of state institutions. In criteria 5, it's included in the national registry. So there is a safeguarding measures, because the very inscription in the national registry is a safeguarding measure. So there is some measures at state level. So we think there is a bit of a contradiction there, perhaps. So we'd like to have some clarification from Nigeria if this is indeed the case or not, in their view. And we are not altogether convinced that there is need for specific safeguarding measures for an eventual inscription or for a possible inscription as it says in the second part of the of criteria 3 from the subsidiary body, because from what we read in the dossier, there's not anything that will jeopardize this practice with the possible inscription. With inscribing or not, this festival will continue. So we're not altogether sure. So this is our first concern. But if we'd like to along with China, hear the intervention from Nigeria before we come to a conclusion on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Namibia, please.
Thank you. Yeah. Like the previous speakers, Namibia also wish to invite the delegation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to elaborate on the safeguarding measures at both community and state levels based on the information provided in the dossier. Thank you.
Thank you. Grenada, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Grenada wished to associate itself with the comments made by the various countries spoken, and would like, through you, Mr. Chairman, to ask Nigeria to elaborate on what are some of the initiatives set out by the state to sustain the elements. Thank you.
Thank you, Grenada. Uganda, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. The subsidiary body has indicated that the festival should not be overtly over-commercialized, but when I look at the file of Nigeria under Section 3B, it indicated that the Adamu Orisha Council resolved that the Oyo festival is not going to be commercially subscribed. And therefore, I would like to agree with Brazil that Nigeria could now elaborate and tell us how they will ensure that this festival is not overtly over-commercialized by reducing on the number of festivals that are taking place. Thank you.
Thank you. Tunisia, please.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. نحن عندما لاحظنا في تفحص الملف الدينامية الكبيرة التي ارتبط بها أعداد هذا الملف، حيث شاركت أطراف مختلفة في بلورته وأعداده، نفاجأ فيما بعد بالقول بعدم وجود إجراءات ملموسة للصيانة. فبالتالي نقترح نحن أن نترك لنيجيريا المجال للتوضيح. شكرا.
Thank you. And Belgium, please.
Thank you very much. In the file on page 5, the first sentence, we read that the inscription of Eyo Masquerade Festival would give tremendous vent to the touristic value of the cultural event. So it's emphasized that it will cause a tremendous change. And in the safeguarding measures proposed on page 5, 6, and 7, we do not really find a proposal how to deal with this effect on, or possible effect on tourism. So we would like to know or to ask questions why there are no safeguarding measures proposed to react to that tremendous vent to the touristic value as indicated on page 5 in the file. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. As far as I understand, all questions concerned with the clarification of the positions must be done by the applying part. Nigeria, if you can reflect the asked questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to congratulate the subsidiary body for its very dedicated and diligent job. Indeed, it was a pleasure working with you all. But even the best is not perfect. I ask you as committee members to read along with me and look for the answers right before you. And I read for you. R3 says the nomination describes no concrete safeguarding measures. And the answer is not far-fetched. You look in front of you and you see all adults belonging to your households can be bearers of the masquerade, and each compound and group is duty-bound to transfer. This is safeguarding, and improve the intricate designs of staff, straw hat, and clothing. That is the costume. What it means is that we in Lagos, we live in compounds, and every family must have a compound, and every adult is duty-bound to safeguard this element at the community level. That is very clear. It's all inclusive, it is all encompassing, it incorporates all. Furthermore, the poetry recited during the festival is also particular to each compound and group, and it's handed down through the generations, both orally and written form. For emphasis, both orally and written form. It is passed from generations to generations with modifications and provisions. That is, every generation improvises and modifies these elements to suit the particular generation. That is at the community level. And when we say all adults, we are not talking about any group. The group is not exclusive of everybody participates. It's a community thing. It's not that there's a special group that does the EYO. Everybody is duty bound to participate. So at the community level, it's all encompassing and incorporates everybody. Then maybe we have to talk about the nature of the kinship system in Africa, and particularly in Lagos. The kinship system in Lagos is over 200 years old, and the Oba symbolizes the continuity of this element. In fact, his place name is called Iku Babayeye Igbákejì Òrìṣà. What this means, Iku means in my language death. It means the king has death in his pocket or in his pouch, and is God's representative on earth, sole representative on earth. My Brazilian friend will confirm Igbákejì Òrìṣà means Òrìṣà is a deity. As you go to Brazil, they have so many Orishas. So what they are saying, the king himself, with that system, 200 years old, has sustained this element. This element cannot exist without the king. And up to today, it is that kingship system that sustains it, and will continue to sustain it. There is no way the king will not be killed because he has death in his pouch and in his pocket. It's not possible for him to be killed, beheaded, or anything. So there's no way the sustainability is assured on a permanent and enduring basis. On the level of the state, I ask you, colleagues, to look at RM4. The Lagos State Council for Arts and Culture is a state institution. It was created 40 years ago as a state institution to make sure your festival is regulated. And it's there. The state, Lagos State gave a letter of consent to this. They participated in all the process, and we are that there's no safeguarding at the state level. In fact, Lagos State Arts Council funds the festival because Oba does not have anywhere to fund the festival. He only does his traditional rites and social practices. Again, Nigeria is a federal state, like Brazil told you yesterday. Nigeria is also a federal state. Lagos State is like saying New York or Paris or this thing. At the federal level, after we ratified this convention in 2006, we created a national body, and you can see it, National Committee on Oral and Islamic Cultural Heritage of Nigeria. That body was set up to establish an inventory and to protect every element on that inventory. And that is offering protection at the state level. So when I read this file and I hear that there is no protection at the state level, I'm surprised. Again, I must say, the subsidiary body is among the best group I've ever worked with. But then, the best is only human and it's not perfect. So I want this file to be considered in its own merit from what I've said. The answers are there in the file itself. Concerning the touristic value that we are talking about, it is not possible because in my office every day I receive, even from diplomats, when the festival wants to come on stream, invitations that must pass through the Ministry of Culture or to the Foreign Ministry, to my office in particular. And usually the pavilion for foreigners is separate. It's separate because they have to be offered protection. Even tourists are not allowed to just wander all over. They have to have, there's a pavilion for them to enjoy and watch the festival. So it is regulated. And that is why the Lagos State Arts Council is there to make sure that security is provided, funds are provided for the festival, and this element is safeguarded.
Thank you.
I will ask you, or I call upon the committee, I beseech you to look at it on its merit. And if there is anything for me to add, I will kindly do that. I rest my case. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Nigeria. So, do we have, I would like to propose, we have the draft. The draft is on the screens. Are there any proposals to have amendments to the draft? I don't see any. So, due to the fact that there is no any other amendments and changes in the draft decision, so Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think we need to. I think after the answers from Nigeria, I think we need to reconsider criteria 3. If we could roll down to criteria 3. I don't know if my fellow colleagues in the committee are convinced, but I believe that after the response from Nigeria, I think we need to do some clarifications with regard to criterion 3. From what we heard, when he says that no safeguarding measures are foreseen at the state level, I think this is not the case from what we heard, and I think there are some, as we just heard, some safeguarding measures for in the event of an inscription for controlling the flux of tourists and so on and so forth. So through you, Mr. Chairman, perhaps we could hear other committee members if they have any comments. Otherwise, we would like to propose some text. But before doing that, I would, through you, I would like to also hear other colleagues if I'm not the only one. Thank you.
Are there any comments, additions? I don't see any in the committee. Greece, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think what we just heard from the representative of Nigeria, it was very convincing and a very well substantiated case. If it's not exactly as it was put forward to us orally in the file, if it's not exactly as we heard it, and what I hear, personally, I'm convinced that there's safeguarding measures are quite enough. I would suggest that the committee might see a chance for referring, if not inscribing, the elements. Thank you.
So there is proposal, please note that the Greece proposing to refer.
I would also like to hear what the other members of the committee feel about what has been told. and
Okay,
I'm
Tunisia.
proposing to.
شكرا. بعد سماع ردود نيجيريا بتنا أكثر اقتناعا بأن المعيار ثلاثة قد استوفي أو بات مستوفي الشروط إلى حد بعيد. وشكرا.
Thank you. Belgium, please.
Thank you. We did not really hear an answer to our question about the tourism. We think there's still, and especially in the file, there's information lacking which could be added in next proposition. So therefore we would also prefer to go for a referral, and we have a proposition for text that we could add a sentence that the committee decides that information included in the file is not sufficient to allow the committee to determine whether the criteria R3 for inscription in the representative list is fulfilled, and therefore decide to refer the nomination. That would be our proposal, so this information could be added in the file so we can read what measures will be taken.
Thank you. So China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Chinese delegation would like to share the same view with the Brazilian delegation, and actually we propose to make a slight amendment to R3 as follows. The nomination describes related safeguarding measures, both at the local and state levels, to ensure the viability of the element, particularly in the participation of communities and groups concerned. Thank you.
Thank you. Can you give this proposal in written? Namibia, please.
Namibia also feels that the explanation given has satisfied our concern on criteria R3. Thank you.
Thank you. And Peru.
Gracias, señor presidente. Buenos días a la sala. El Perú agradece la efusiva y precisa información que nos ha brindado Nigeria con relación a las medidas de salvaguardia para este elemento. Sin embargo, leyendo el expediente que lo tenemos aquí sobre la mesa, constatamos que lo que nos explica el delegado de Nigeria no es lo que contiene el expediente. Por eso respaldamos la posición del órgano subsidiario y respaldamos, por lo tanto, la sugerencia de Grecia y de Bélgica en el sentido de devolver el expediente para que la información pertinente sea contenida en el mismo. No olvidemos que los expedientes son un modelo para los demás países y quedan en la página web de la UNESCO a disponibilidad. Entonces necesitamos que esos expedientes sean de muy buena calidad para que guíen al resto de países y a todos nosotros en la elaboración de nuevos expedientes. Muchas gracias, presidente.
Thank you very much. And Renato.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have listened to the contribution made by Nigeria, and my delegation wishes to ask the subsidiary body to reconsider the decision. Over the past few days, we have listened to contribution made by different entities, and we have noticed that changes have been made to support what they're asking for, and therefore, Mr. Chairman, we believe that the nomination should be considered at this time by Nigeria.
Now, let us look through the draft decision. we are waiting for the Chinese proposal to be written. Uruguay, please. Uruguay.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Nosotros escuchamos con muchísima atención las explicaciones de la delegación de Nigeria, pero siguiendo con el sentido en el cual hay un apoyo al órgano subsidiario, nosotros creemos que la delegación uruguaya tiene que apoyar el criterio de Perú en cuanto se establezca una devolución del expediente al Estado parte. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. Brazil, you again.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, perhaps because this element has some similarities with our culture, we're more familiar with this universe, and we're inclined to go for an inscription. But I see that the room is divided. Our understanding is that we should first examine the proposal that is furthest apart from the original text. So my suggestion, Mr. Chairman, if I may, is that we examine the amendments proposed by China, and then we go to the amendments proposed by Belgium. Thank you.
Okay. So,
just for the translation.
we are waiting for the translation to be done to the text and reflected on the screen. So first we go to the as it was proposal first to consider the proposal of China. R3 in the new version, the related safeguarding measures both on the local and state levels to ensure the viability of the element, particularly in the participation of communities and groups concerned. Brazil, please.
Mr. Chairman, if, with China's leave, I'd like to suggest the inclusion of a word may ensure. If China agrees, this is our suggestion to this amendment. So the safeguarding measures may ensure the viability. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So this is the proposal of China.
Maybe you can read it to be sure everybody.
So everyone is clearly understands what is the proposal. I mean, the nomination on R3, we have the nomination describes the related safeguarding measures both at the local and state level that may ensure the viability of the element, particularly on the participation of the community and groups concerned, to concrete until that dot here. So this is the proposal of China, and the proposal brings the item 4.5 for inscription. This is the proposal of China. Do committee members support this decision? Or Brazil? Grenada? Nicaragua? Okay. I don't see sufficient support. Namibia? Tunisia? Madagascar? Latvia? Azerbaijan? So, Greece. It's the number of the supporters are not sufficient to accept this decision as proposed by China. So I have to proceed to the other proposal which is given by Belgium. The number 3 version in the information included the first or not sufficient to allow the committee to determine whether criteria R3 is sufficient for inscription, and to change, number 4, to refer the nomination. Now, please apply for support of this proposal. Uruguay, then Peru, China, Belgium, Kyrgyzstan, Albania, again not sufficient. It is, in this case, my dear friends, members of Greece, Brazil. Brazil is voting for the, I see. So, Czech Republic, I saw, yes? No, sorry. Nicaragua, Burkina Faso, Namibia. So we're nearly approaching, because other way, Granada, other way I have to proceed to the first proposed draft. So I kindly ask you to support the... So now we have the number of votes which supports the proposal of Belgium to have the definitions on paragraph 3, like it is inscribed in the red letters, that the information included in the first file is not sufficient to allow the committee to determine whether criterion 3 is sufficient for inscription, and the decision decides to refer the nomination of the Ayo Masquerade Festival. So I have the support of the delegations. Brazil? Azerbaijan? Supports, yes. Yes. Please, Brazil.
Mr. Chairman, just to understand, what are we doing now? Are we voting the whole decision with the amendment? So Brazil has another amendment to propose in paragraph original 5.
Please.
So now it's new 6, I think, I don't know. Which would read, commends the State Party of Nigeria for putting forward this nomination. Comma, which may contribute to intercultural dialogue, comma, and then he reads the same.
And invites the submitting state, so...
Exactly. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
No objections? Thank you. So, we consider that the file proposed by Nigeria, according to the decision of the committee members, is referred. Thank you. I would like to give the floor to Nigeria.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank all the committee members for all their comments and observations. And for us, it is a learning curve, and we'll take into consideration everything everybody has said about the element and the nomination dossier. For me, I'm happy that it came today, because yesterday was my birthday, and it would have ruined my birthday. And thank God for that. It happened the day after. Thank you.
Congratulations, both for decision and for your birthday. Happy birthday. So, now we're coming to the file 822, submitted by Peru. Please, Mr. Sconti, the floor is yours.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Nous continuons à présent avec la candidature soumise par le Pérou. Les connaissances, savoir-faire et rituels liés à la rénovation annuelle du pont Quechua-Chaka. Le pont suspendu Quechua-Chaka enjambe les gorges de la rivière Apurimac, dans la partie méridionale des Andes. 4 communautés paysannes quechua se réunissent chaque année pour le rénover à l'aide de techniques et de matériaux inca traditionnels. La rénovation dure 3 jours, pendant lesquels les familles tordent la paille pour en faire des cordes qui sont ensuite attachées puis tissées ensemble pour former le pont. La rénovation structure la vie des communautés participantes. Elle permet de renforcer leurs liens séculaires et de réaffirmer leur identité culturelle. La fin de la rénovation est célébrée par une fête organisée par les communautés. Lors de son évaluation de cette candidature, l'organe subsidiaire a conclu qu'elle satisfaisait l'ensemble des critères. L'organe subsidiaire a particulièrement apprécié l'évocation de cet élément en tant qu'exemple de sagesse populaire et de sensibilité entre la nature et le savoir des hommes, ainsi que sa créativité, témoignée par l'utilisation habile de ressources naturelles pour la rénovation annuelle de ce pont. Les mesures de sauvegarde proposées ont pleinement convaincu l'organe subsidiaire et ses membres ont été unanimes dans l'appréciation de la protection juridique des espaces liés à cet élément du patrimoine culturel immatériel, y compris l'inclusion des mesures pour décourager toute expansion urbaine que pourrait attirer l'inscription. Des mesures donc qui sont cruciales pour la sauvegarde de l'élément lui-même. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont souhaité mentionner cette candidature parmi celles qui pourraient servir de modèle et de source d'inspiration pour d'autres États parties et par conséquent recommandent que les connaissances, savoir-faire et rituels liés à la rénovation annuelle du pont Quechua-Chaka soient inscrits sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much. The proposal of the subsidiary body is positive for the inscription. I apply to the committee members and don't see any other opinions. So we declare the nomination from Peru inscribed in the UNESCO list. May I give the floor to the representative of the country, of the state body? Peru, please.
Señores miembros del comité, queremos expresar nuestro agradecimiento del Perú y del Cusco por tan importante reconocimiento que eleva nuestra autoestima y orgullo de ser herederos de la cultura inca. El puente se renueva todos los años. Participan 4 comunidades campesinas quechuas, dirigidas por 2 chacarunas, hacedores de puente en su traducción, y un sacerdote andino denominado Baku, que solicita a las deidades andinas su protección y consejo oportuno. Ellos son los depositarios de saberes que vienen y se mantienen de generación en generación. Se plasma de esta forma la memoria histórica, que está presente y se mantiene así. Así lo han hecho por siglos hasta hoy. Habiendo incluso puentes modernos en sus cercanías, siguen con la tradición del puente de paja o icho en quechua, que es un punto de partida que une a las comunidades. Es la reafirmación de su identidad y el orgullo étnico quechua y la continuidad de su cultura. Quiero dejar acá un chacarruna que expresará también un agradecimiento en su idioma del quechua.
Hatun umalyak hueracochacuna y huayquipanaicuna. Nokan ho hatun napaikuita chachimune haqay pirun suyumanta. Nokaykutahmi kayko chakarua runa. Haqay río apurimak chawpinpin chay q'ishwachaqa nisqa sutiyuq tarikun. Nokaykutahmi hasta kunan unchaykama mantenishayku wawaykupas ch'aychiykupas ñituykupas siginqa mantenispa uspalay.
Ha dicho, trae el saludo de los pueblos quechuas y señala de que este puente que heredaron ellos, las tradiciones de sus ancestros, le darán continuidad enseñando a sus hijos, a sus nietos, para que así perseveramente este puente dure por los siglos de los siglos. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, and our congratulations to Peru. Thank you very much. Now we proceed to item 823, proposed by Republic of Korea. Please, the floor is given to the chairperson of Subsidiary Body, Mr. Sconti, please.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. La candidature suivante est présentée par la République de Corée, le Kim Yang, préparation et partage du kimchi. Kimchi est le nom donné aux légumes conservés, assaisonnés d'épices et de produits de la mer fermentés. Il constitue un élément essentiel du repas coréen. La fin de l'automne correspond à la saison du Kim Yang, moment où les communautés préparent collectivement de grandes quantités de kimchi et les partagent de façon à ce que chaque foyer ait suffisamment de nourriture pour passer l'hiver. Cette coutume souligne l'importance du partage et rappelle la nécessité de vivre en harmonie avec la nature. La pratique collective du Kim Yang réaffirme l'identité coréenne et offre une bonne occasion de renforcer la coopération familiale. Lors de son évaluation de cette candidature, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré qu'elle démontre l'ensemble des critères. L'organe subsidiaire a été impressionné par la bonne présentation de ce dossier dans sa globalité. L'organe subsidiaire a particulièrement apprécié la vaste participation des multiples acteurs dans la préparation de la candidature et dans la proposition de mesures de sauvegarde qui visent non seulement à une transmission au sein des familles, mais aussi à une éducation formelle à travers les programmes des écoles. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont souhaité mentionner aussi cette candidature parmi celles qui pourraient servir de modèle et de source d'inspiration pour d'autres États parties et par conséquent recommandent que le Kim Yang, préparation et partage du kimchi, soit inscrit sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much. The proposal given by the consultative body is positive, but before the decision, I would like to give the floor to Madame Duvel for very brief just explanation.
Merci, Monsieur le Président. C'est juste une petite correction que l'État soumissionnaire souhaite apporter au titre de sa candidature, de rajouter en République de Corée à la fin du titre pour éviter tout risque de mauvaise compréhension des contours de l'élément. Donc c'est juste le titre qui changerait, mais évidemment la candidature n'est absolument pas affectée par cette modification.
I think that we can accept such kind of definition. I don't see any objections and other opinions, please. So we declare the nominations of Kim Jang making and sharing kimchi in Republic of Korea, inscribed in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List. Congratulations. Can I give the floor to the representative of the state party, Korea, Republic of Korea, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On behalf of the government of the Republic of Korea, I'd like to express my deepest gratitude to all committee members for the valuable support in inscribing Kimjang on the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity. I also thank the subsidiary body members and the Secretariat for their efforts in evaluating nomination files and preparing for this committee meeting. And my special thanks should go to the government of Azerbaijan and in its hosting this committee meeting in a very successful way. Indeed, Kimjang, the culture of making and sharing kimchi, is a vital part of Korean cultural identity. Kimjang is not only an opportunity to strengthen family bonds by the collective action of making kimchi together, but also a chance to solidify community ties by sharing kimchi with friends, neighbors, and those who are less fortunate. Kimjang is ensured that all community members have enough kimchi throughout the long and harsh winter season in each community. Moreover, Kimjang is one of a few intangible cultural heritage where the family members of communities play a leading role. The senior woman of every household assigns her husband, children, and daughters-in-laws what they have to do. And all family members follow her instructions when they conduct Kimjang. On the basis of this funding and sharing tradition to be found in Kimjang, the Republic of Korea hopes to be able to further its contribution to achieving the goals of Intangible Cultural Heritage Convention and would highly appreciate your valuable support in our fulfilling this mission. Finally, my delegation will distribute brochures and present a video clip of Kimjang outside of the meeting hall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Once more, congratulations to Republic of Korea. And now we are passing to discussion of the item 8.24, presented by Romania and the Republic of Moldova. Please, Subsidiary Body, Chairperson.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Effectivement, la candidature suivante est présentée conjointement par la Roumanie et la République de Moldavie, le Colinda de groupe d'hommes, rituel de Noël. Le soir de Noël, des groupes de jeunes hommes se rendent de maison en maison dans les villages de Roumanie et de la République de Moldavie, exécutant des chants festifs. Ces chants ont un propos épique, adapté aux spécificités de chacune des maisons visitées. Les participants chantent également des chants spéciaux de bon augure à l'intention des jeunes filles célibataires pour les aider à se marier l'année suivante. Après leur performance, les membres du groupe se voient offrir des présents rituels et de l'argent pour leurs hôtes. Le rituel du Colinda joue un rôle important de renforcement de la cohésion et de l'identité sociale. Lors de son évaluation, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que cette candidature satisfaisait l'ensemble des critères. L'organe subsidiaire a considéré que les États parties ont suffisamment démontré que le rituel apporte aux pratiquants en Roumanie et dans la République de Moldavie un sentiment d'identité et de fierté. Le dossier présente des mesures de sauvegarde clairement formulées et réalistes avec une correspondance entre les actions proposées, le budget et le calendrier. L'organe subsidiaire a considéré que ces actions étaient bien équilibrées entre mesures réglementaires et mesures de renforcement des capacités caractérisée par la participation des communautés. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont donc recommandé que le colinda de groupe d'hommes rituel de Noël soit inscrit sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sconti, for this presentation. The recommendation of the subsidiary body is positive. I don't see any other proposals and objections from the committee member side, so we declare the file proposed by Romania and the Republic of Moldova men's group calling that Christmas time ritual inscribed in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List. May I give the floor to the applying countries, Romania and Moldova. Who is taking the floor?
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for me to be able to attend the UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee for Salvaguarding the Intangible Cultural Heritage of this very special occasion. You are grateful for the recognition granted this year along with the Republic of Moldova for men's group calling that Christmas time ritual, one of the most valuable elements of our cultural identity and the fourth element inscribed by Romania to the representative list. Practice all over Romania and Republic of Moldova assimilated with the Christmas message, announcement and holidays. It's not only a spectacular performance and a prestigious ritual, but above all, it's a form of preserving social identity, cohesion, harmony, solidarity among communities, including multi-ethnic communities. It is also in the spirit of 2003 Convention, which encouraged international cooperation in order to strengthen efforts to preserve intangible heritage, is transferred to future generations and a reciprocal celebration of value such as commitment, friendship and solidarity. Finally, I would like to congratulate and express our appreciation to the Azerbaijan Ministry of Culture and Tourism for hosting and organizing this year's session. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much. We congratulate once more both delegations of Romania and Moldova. Both the floor, please.
Estimable invité, personnellement, je suis très honoré d'avoir l'occasion d'être présent à cet événement important pour le domaine culturel de nos pays, organisé dans le but de la consolidation et la réaffirmation des principes et valeurs fondamentaux de l'UNESCO. À cette occasion, j'exprime des remerciements aux partenaires et aux collègues, à tous les organisateurs de ces réunions, en particulièrement au gouvernement de la République d'Azerbaïdjan, et à tous les membres du comité intergouvernemental de sauvegarde du patrimoine culturel immatériel pour leur travail et pour les initiatives dans les sauvegardes du patrimoine culturel immatériel. Mesdames et Messieurs, pour la République Moldova, l'inclusion des coutumes, les colendas des groupes d'hommes rituels de Noël, qui est un élément important du patrimoine culturel immatériel national dans la liste du patrimoine mondial immatériel, c'est une preuve supplémentaire de l'efficacité de la politique d'État promue au cours des dernières années pour sauvegarder l'héritage culturel commun et une priorité en plus à développer de nouveaux programmes d'État axés sur éléments du patrimoine immatériel. Je tiens à vous assurer que nous sommes prêts pour soutenir et contribuer réellement à ces projets, étant convaincus sur la signification du patrimoine culturel immatériel comme un outil pour le développement durable et comme un vecteur bâtisseur de ponts, non seulement entre les citoyens européens, mais aussi entre le passé, le présent et l'avenir de notre Europe. Merci pour votre attention.
And now, let me give the floor to the representative of the community.
Thank you, Romania and Moldova, for this beautiful presentation. And we proceed to item 825, presented by Senegal. Please, the floor is given to Mr. Sconti.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président, de nous redonner la parole de nouveau. Nous allons maintenant introduire la candidature présentée par le Sénégal, le Ktouy, une cérémonie divinatoire chez les Sérères du Sénégal. Le Ktouy est une cérémonie divinatoire traditionnelle organisée par la communauté des Sérères avant la saison des pluies. Durant cette longue veillée nocturne, les maîtres voyants connus sous le nom du saltigué entrent dans un cercle pour délivrer leurs prédictions à une assistance en délire. La combinaison de leurs vêtements éclatants, des chants et des danses crée une cérémonie spectaculaire, riche en couleurs. Les voyants tiennent l'assistance en haleine jusqu'à l'aube. Les saltigués sont les médiums vivants du Ktouy. Ils préservent et transmettent les connaissances essentielles à la cérémonie. Lors de son évaluation, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que cette candidature satisfaisait l'ensemble des critères. L'organe a conclu que la candidature est particulièrement appréciée pour le rôle de l'élément en favorisant le dialogue entre les communautés, notamment avec celles qui partagent les pratiques similaires. La relation entre les humains et la nature que le Ktouy suscite a également été apprécié. Le critère R5 a provoqué de longs débats parmi les membres de l'organe subsidiaire, étant donné que l'élément est inclus dans un inventaire pluridisciplinaire qui n'est pas spécifique au patrimoine culturel immatériel. À l'issue des débats, l'organe s'est accordé pour conclure que le dossier démontre adéquatement que ce critère est rempli. L'organe a noté que l'État soumissionnaire a fait usage de termes propres à d'autres conventions, notamment celle du patrimoine mondial, et par conséquent a souhaité rappeler l'importance d'utiliser un vocabulaire approprié et d'éviter des expressions propres à la Convention de 1972 concernant la protection du patrimoine mondial, culturel et naturel lorsqu'il s'agit de la Convention de 2003. L'organe subsidiaire recommande que le Ktouy, une cérémonie divinatoire chez les Sérères du Sénégal, soit inscrit sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much. We now acquainted with the brief overall of the file. The opinion of the subsidiary body is positive. Any comments? Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Brazil would like to also convey satisfaction to see this nomination put forward by Senegal. And just one note on the report from the subsidiary body. I think for this decision, with regards to vocabulary borrowed from other conventions, I think we should perhaps have a sort of more positive approach. And so we'd like to, if you could scroll down to paragraph 4, instead of saying avoiding expression taken from the 72 convention, would like to see a more positive approach. We've been saying that there should be seen synergies between the conventions and so on and so forth. So it's better to say appropriate vocabulary in line with the 2003 Convention on the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. So instead of having a negative note, a more positive. Thank you very much.
Can we have this reflection on the screen? Recall the importance of using appropriate vocabulary. in line with the 2003 Convention of the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage. Any other opinions? Do we support the proposal of Brazil? Can we accept it? Yes, Grenada, Burkina Faso, Kyrgyzstan, Uruguay, Uganda, China, Nicaragua, Nigeria, Namibia, Tunisia. I think that it is sufficient support for us. So, we accept this decision in the whole with the amendment approved by committee members proposed by Brazil. The file from Senegal is inscribed in the UNESCO Heritage List. May I apply to the State Party representative of Senegal to have a floor for 2 minutes?
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Permettez-moi, au nom de l'État partie du Sénégal, d'exprimer nos sincères remerciements aux membres de l'organe subsidiaire, au comité et au secrétariat. Cette inscription, en même temps qu'elle contribue à accroître la visibilité du bien, renforce également une meilleure prise en compte du patrimoine culturel immatériel dans la nouvelle politique de développement de notre pays. En effet, le ministère de la Culture a engagé depuis le mois de mars 2013 un important programme national de promotion de la diversité culturelle, et des 7 régions sur 14 déjà visitées, le patrimoine culturel immatériel représente 84% des 190 biens déjà retenus. Monsieur le Président, à ce moment précis, ma pensée va plutôt vers les communautés dépositaires du Hoy, et sans lesquelles cette inscription n'aurait pas été possible. Je pense aux anciens dépositaires qui organisent cette manifestation annuellement. Je pense aux saltigués, qui sont ces maîtres voyants, prédicateurs, mais en même temps tradis praticiens, car ils officient comme des médiums, mais ils officient également comme des guérisseurs dans un centre devenu célèbre, qui est le centre de Malango, géré par une ONG, Prometra, qui est venue souvent à vos assises. Monsieur le Président, je pense également aux populations du Sénégal, car le Hoy n'est pas uniquement pour les Sérères, c'est tout le peuple qui écoute au mois de juin les prédications des saltigués. Toute la presse couvre cet événement et on attend, parce que la pluie chez nous est une question existentielle. C'est en cela que le Hoy est important comme facteur effectivement de développement. Monsieur le Président, permettez-moi, avant de conclure, d'assurer l'organe subsidiaire que toutes les recommandations seront prises en compte. Et je vous informe déjà, et j'en ai le plaisir, que le conseil régional de cette région de Fatick, où se déroule le Hoy, a débuté depuis le mois d'août, en collaboration étroite avec la direction du patrimoine culturel, la construction de l'écomusée qui était déjà prévue dans notre plan de gestion, sans même tenir compte du classement ou non du Hoy. Pour dire simplement que nous allons là, très certainement, vers une expérience de bonne pratique. Je voudrais également remercier l'UNESCO. Le Sénégal se satisfait de l'excellente coopération avec l'UNESCO, qui nous accompagne par une assistance technique et financière dans les programmes de sauvegarde et de mise en valeur du patrimoine culturel immatériel. Nous venons de commencer un inventaire sur les musiques traditionnelles avec la satisfaction de notre demande d'assistance. Et nous avons bouclé il y a 2 ans un plan de sauvegarde pour le Kankuran déjà inscrit sur la liste représentative avec les fonds de dépôt du Japon. Bref, nous souhaitons que cette coopération se poursuive, car c'est maintenant que le travail commence. C'est bien d'inscrire un site, c'est une chose, mais le maintenir, le gérer durablement, c'est une toute autre chose. j'ai quand même un petit sentiment de tristesse. Et il n'y a personne de ces communautés pour venir témoigner sa gratitude au comité ici avec moi. Et la délégation sénégalaise se résume à ma modeste personne. Fort curieusement, sur cette table, il n'y a presque personne aujourd'hui. Je ne sais pas pourquoi. Je ne suis pas quand même si seul parce que la famille de la culture mondiale m'entoure dans un beau pays où les gens sont accueillants. Ils sont vraiment accueillants. Et je vous remercie pour cette dernière remarque. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you for this very interesting and touching speech. So, please don't forget to close your mic. May I propose you to pass to the discussion of the next item, which is file proposed by Slovakia, and file number 26. So the floor is given to the chairperson of the subsidiary body.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais d'abord demander à l'honorable délégué du Sénégal de pardonner ma prononciation littérale du Khouy. Nous passons maintenant, Monsieur le Président, au dossier présenté par la Slovaquie, la musique de Terchova. Le village de Terchova dans le nord-ouest de la Slovaquie est renommé pour ses performances vocales et instrumentales collectives créées par des ensembles à cordes composés de 3, 4 ou 5 musiciens. Ils jouent sur une petite contrebasse à 2 cordes ou un accordéon diatonique à boutons et sont accompagnés d'un ensemble vocal et de danse populaire. Les représentations ont lieu lors d'anniversaires, de festivals et surtout du Festival international des journées de Janosik. Transmise oralement, la culture musicale traditionnelle est une question de fierté et un marqueur identitaire pour les habitants du village de Terchova et ses alentours. L'organe subsidiaire a conclu lors de son évaluation de cette candidature qu'elle satisfaisait l'ensemble des 5 critères. Bien que l'organe subsidiaire se soit interrogé pour savoir si le dossier avait traité l'élément dans toute sa complexité et non pas simplement concernant certains de ces aspects, il a conclu qu'il démontre de façon convaincante que la musique de Terchova sert de marqueur identitaire pour les communautés et leur procure un sentiment de continuité. En même temps, l'organe subsidiaire a particulièrement apprécié le fait que la musique de Terchova a su s'adapter au fil des ans aux changements sociaux. L'organe subsidiaire a noté que l'État soumissionnaire a fait usage dans son dossier de termes inappropriés tels que authentique et pureté et souhaite par conséquent rappeler l'importance de l'utilisation d'un vocabulaire approprié et d'éviter ce type d'expression. Il recommande cependant que la musique de Terchova soit inscrite sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much for this overview. Applying to the committee's members, no other opinions. So the decision is to support the proposal of the subsidiary body and to inscribe Slovakia's file, Music of Terchova, into the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List. The floor is given to representative of Slovakia, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairperson, Madam Secretary, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, Slovakia would like to thank the organizers of the 8th session of Intergovernmental Committee, the Azerbaijan Republic for the warm welcoming in the beautiful city of Baku, as well as brilliant organization and cultural program preparing the conditions enhancing the friendly atmosphere of the whole meeting in general. Slovakia highly estimates the work of expertise of the subsidiary body, as well the time and efforts invested in the whole evaluation process from both the members of the subsidiary body and secretariat. The music of Terkova presents a vivid tradition connecting all generations, not only in the particular community of the village, but has also become an element well known by the people of the whole country of Slovakia. Once again, please let me express our many thanks, and considering the appreciation of the element, now you will have the chance to make up your own mind. Finally, I'd like kindly invite all of you to attend the cultural program at 1 p.m. in second floor. Once again, thank you very much for support.
Thank you. And it's really very brilliant to have all these cultural varieties in one hall. It's a great impression. Thank you very much. Now we proceed to the discussion of the item 827 proposed by the former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia. So, Mr. Sconti, you're welcome.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Vous allez examiner effectivement à présent la candidature soumise par l'ex-république yougoslave de Macédoine, la fête des 45 martyrs à Chtip. La fête des 45 martyrs est célébrée chaque année le 22 mars afin d'honorer les martyrs de Sébaste et de célébrer le début du printemps. Les participants font l'ascension de la colline d'Issar en s'arrêtant en route à l'église afin de rendre un hommage aux saints martyrs. Cet événement printanier requiert une coopération dénuée de tout intérêt personnel entre de nombreux habitants issus de tous les groupes d'âge, de toutes les classes sociales et de tous les milieux. Il encourage et promeut l'esprit d'équipe et la solidarité. Les grands-parents, parents et enfants font ensemble l'ascension qui réunit également des membres de diverses ethnies et religions. Lors de son examen, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que cette candidature satisfaisait l'ensemble des 5 critères. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont considéré que le dossier démontre de façon convaincante que la fête des 45 martyrs procure aux divers groupes ethniques et religieux présents à Chtip un sentiment d'identité et de continuité. En outre, ils ont particulièrement apprécié le rôle qu'a joué la fête pour encourager le dialogue entre les différents groupes sociaux, religieux et ethniques, favorisant ainsi le respect de la diversité culturelle. Comme dans le cas de la Slovaquie, l'organe subsidiaire a noté que l'État soumissionnaire a fait usage dans son dossier d'un certain nombre de termes inappropriés tels que authentiques et souhaite par conséquent rappeler l'importance de l'utilisation du vocabulaire de la Convention. Il recommande cependant que la fête des 45 martyrs à Chtip soit inscrite sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much. No other proposals, opinions. So the draft is on the screen, so we can proceed to approve it in the whole. Having no objections, we declare the file proposed by former Yugoslav Republic of Macedonia, Feast of the Holy 40 Martyrs in Štip, inscribed. Congratulations. The floor is given to the representative of Macedonia, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. On behalf of the Republic of Macedonia and Macedonian people, we would like to express our deepest gratitude to the Subsidiary Body and Intergovernmental Committee for recognizing the importance and the uniqueness of the Feast of the Holy 40 Martyrs in Štip and inscribed it on UNESCO's representative list of the Intangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity. For several centuries, the Feast of the Holy 40 Martyrs takes place every year on March 22nd, honoring the martyrs of Sebaste and marking the first day of spring. We are grateful that in its roots, the first inscribed ICH element from Republic of Macedonia unites several cultural expressions of humanity and completely corresponds with the aims and domains of the UNESCO ICH Convention. It is a social practice that represents the deep ritual and religious, as well as beliefs concerning the nature and universe. The multi-ethnic and multicultural background of this social practice manifests the richness and cultural diversity of our country, which has always been a crossroad of many civilizations. That spirit has been manifested in the feast, which has been and still is one of the main holders of the cultural identity of the community of the city of Štip, as well as recognized by all population of Republic of Macedonia.
We would like to emphasize the importance of this moment, especially for our people, since this is the first Macedonian ICH element on UNESCO list, and it happened in the wonderful city of Baku. So many thanks goes to our host Azerbaijan for warm welcoming. We are inviting all of you on 22nd of March to come in Štip and practice on this feast, to collect pebbles, to throw them to the Isar Hill and make your own wish. In the spirit of the convention, I would like to thank you in Macedonian language. Во името на Република Македонија, благодарам UNESCO.
Thank you very much, and our congratulations. We are moving forward to item 8.28, the Turkish proposal. Please switch off your microphone, please. Can Macedonia switch microphone off? So, we are moving to discussion of the next item. Please, the floor is given to Mr. Sconte.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Nous passons maintenant à la candidature présentée par la Turquie, la culture et la tradition du café turc. Le café turc allie des techniques de préparation spéciales à une culture commune riche en traditions. Il est essentiellement consommé dans des cafés où les gens se retrouvent pour discuter, échanger des nouvelles et lire des livres. Cette tradition, ancrée dans le mode de vie des Turcs, est symbole d'hospitalité, d'amitié, de finesse et de divertissement. Le café turc joue également un rôle important lors de certaines occasions sociales, telles que les cérémonies de fiançailles et les fêtes. Les connaissances et les rituels sont transmis de manière non formelle par les membres de la famille à travers l'observation et la participation. Lors de son évaluation de cette candidature, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré qu'elle satisfait l'ensemble des critères. L'organe subsidiaire a conclu que la tradition du café turc procure un sentiment d'identité et de continuité en soulignant que c'est l'usage social et culturel du produit qui fait sa signification et non pas le produit en lui-même. L'organe subsidiaire a apprécié l'engagement des associations et amateurs de café ainsi que des autorités locales et nationales pour la mise en œuvre des mesures de sauvegarde vouées à la promotion de la culture traditionnelle du café turc. L'organe subsidiaire a également apprécié l'usage social et la signification culturelle du café turc, ainsi que les possibilités liées au fait qu'une telle institution sociale puisse encourager le dialogue et la compréhension mutuelle. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire recommandent par conséquent que la culture et la tradition du café turc soient inscrits sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much for this evaluation. Are there any other opinions or proposals on behalf of the committee members? I don't see any, and I feel the aroma of the good Turkish coffee in the hall. So, inscribed. May I give the floor to the representative of the Turkish Republic?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since this is the first time we are taking the floor, I want to thank Azerbaijani authorities and people for their generous hospitality and congratulate them for the efficient organization of the meeting. We thank the committee for its decision to inscribe the file on the representative list. Thanks to the excellent cooperation and dialogue currently exists among the NGOs, individuals, institutions and universities, inscription of the element on the list will help expand this dialogue to the national, regional and international levels. Turkish coffee culture and tradition is a very strong element of the intangible cultural heritage present in Turkey. This culture and tradition with its variation exists also in a wide geography, including the Balkans, the Caucasus, the Mediterranean, and the Middle East. This culture and tradition has a profound effect in the Turkish social and cultural life, among others, as a means for social interaction and dialogue. It has equally impacted the Turkish literature, rituals, music, crafts, and paintings. Turkish coffee culture and tradition will therefore contribute to a great extent to visibility of the convention and will have a positive impact on raising awarenesses concerning the intangible cultural heritage. Thank you.
Thank you. Our congratulations goes to Turkish Republic, and now we proceed to discussion of the file number 829, submitted by Ukraine. Please, Mr. Skonta, the floor is yours.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Nous allons introduire maintenant la candidature présentée par l'Ukraine, la peinture décorative de Petrikivka, expression de l'art populaire ornemental ukrainien. Les habitants du village de Petrikivka décorent leurs habitations, leurs objets domestiques et leurs instruments de musique de peinture ornementale riche de symboles, où prédominent des fleurs imaginaires et autres éléments naturels. Dans la croyance populaire, les peintures protégées du chagrin et de tous les maux. Chaque famille compte au moins un praticien et la tradition est enseignée dans les écoles locales à tous les niveaux. La peinture de Petrikivka faisant ainsi partie intégrante de la vie quotidienne de la communauté. Lors de son évaluation de cette candidature et après de longs débats, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que la candidature démontre la satisfaction des critères R1, R3 et R5. Monsieur le Président, l'organe subsidiaire a cependant considéré que l'État soumissionnaire n'avait pas démontré que les critères R2 et R4 étaient satisfaits. Bien que la peinture de Petrikivka connaisse une large visibilité internationale, l'organe a trouvé que la candidature ne démontre pas de façon convaincante comment l'inscription encouragera le dialogue au niveau national. Il ne démontre pas non plus comment l'inscription de l'élément contribuera à accroître la visibilité du patrimoine culturel immatériel en général et à sensibiliser à son importance. En ce qui concerne le critère R4, l'organe subsidiaire a constaté que même si le dossier présente une liste d'associations et d'institutions qui soutiennent la candidature, il ne décrit pas le processus en lui-même, ni ne démontre leur participation la plus large possible. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont donc recommandé de ne pas inscrire la peinture décorative de Petrikivka, expression de l'art populaire ornemental ukrainien, sur la liste représentative à ce stade. De plus, comme dans d'autres candidatures, l'organe a rencontré des expressions qui reflètent des conceptions n'appartenant pas à l'esprit de la Convention. L'organe tient à rappeler l'importance de l'utilisation du vocabulaire approprié. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you. Here we have other proposals, other kind of proposal. Are there any questions and proposals? Please, Greece.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our delegation would like to congratulate the Ukrainian delegation for submitting this file. And having looked at the file and knowing myself something about Petrikivka painting, I would appreciate the Ukrainian delegation to elaborate a little bit more upon the two criteria that the subsidiary body in their very well substantiated work in general judged that they have failed to meet in the spirit of the convention. I'm sure that when we hear the delegates, that we may have another view on this subject. Thank you.
Thank you, Greece, very much. Brazil.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. While commending Ukraine for putting Petrikivka, putting forward this nomination, we acknowledge the work of the subsidiary body. But when going through the recommendation of the subsidiary body, we felt that criteria 4 is perhaps somehow satisfied if analyzed together with the consent of the communities. It is true that when we looked at the nomination file, the first part only lists the number of institutions and does not describe how the communities participated in the nomination process. However, if you go to the consent of the communities, which is available, anyone can consult on the convention's page, which is quite a heavy file, by the way, you see a number of letters and minutes of meetings, and everything is in Ukrainian, which I can't read, but here you go in English, and especially in the minutes of the different meetings of the city council, the district council, and the public council of Petrikivka, which I think is the organization of the practitioners of this element. If you go, especially in the minutes of these meetings, you understand how the process of consultation were undertaken. So I think that perhaps if you analyze the consent of the communities together with the list that they provide, it gives us evidence for the verification of criteria R4. So if, through you, Mr. Chairman, if Ukraine could describe how this process was undertaken based on the documents of the consent of the communities, perhaps the committee could have a better picture of how the communities were implicated in this process. Thank you.
Thank you for this position. So, Egypt.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. أكرر شكري مجددا للجنة على ما تبذله حقيقة من جهد ونظرات متعمقة للملفات المقدمة، ولعلي أضم صوتي إلى صوت زميلتي من اليونان وزميلي من البرازيل في أننا نظن أن بعض ما وجه من انتقادات إلى المشروع هو قد تم استيفاؤه. فمثلا بالنسبة للمعيار R2 نظن أنه قد تم استيفاء هذا المعيار إلى حد كبير في الجزء الثاني من الملف، خاصة فيما يرتبط بتنمية حيوية التراث الثقافي غير المادي الأوكراني، كما أن تسجيل هذا العنصر سوف يشجع بدون شك على الحوار بين الجماعات والأفراد. كما أننا نرى أنه بالنسبة للمعيار R4 فهناك بروتوكولات مرفقة تشهد على أن هناك مشاركة فعالة في إعداد وإسراء المشروع في كافة مراحله، وأن هناك أفراد كثيرين ومجموعات كثيرة ومتخصصين من حملة هذا التراث قد شاركوا في تهذيب المشروع وإسرائه. شكرا سيد الرئيس. ولعلي يعني أطلب من الوفد الأوكراني أن يزيدنا توضيحا في هذا الأمر. شكرا سيدي.
Thank you, Egypt. Nicaragua, please.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Yo me sumo a las felicitaciones del órgano subsidiario por el trabajo concienzudo que han venido realizando. Creo que son una expresión fehaciente de los Estados miembros que somos signatarios de la Convención. Igualmente quiero felicitar a Ucrania y agradecerle por la presentación de esta iniciativa. Y para no alargar en discusiones y en discursos, quiero sumarme a lo expresado ya por Brasil, Egipto y otras delegaciones. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much. Nicaragua, Azerbaijan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our delegation would like to make comment on the draft decision concerning the criterion 2. To clarify our position, we would like to apply to the text of the nomination file because it clearly states that the element, here comes quotation, contributes to uniting people, to harmonizing society relationships, and create harmony with nature and the world, chapter 1.4, that the inscription will expand, quotation, the circle of bearer of intangible cultural heritage on the national level, chapter 2.1. It could also open new prospects for the Ukrainian craftsmen who might exchange their skills with other world and regional folk art community experts, chapter 2.1, and could promote, quotation, more effective relationship between the art and craft experts, will make constructive the dialogue between scientific research and educational institutions, museum communities,
schools of professional painters, and groups of volunteer and amateurs. Chapter 2.2. We have to emphasize that all these arguments and quotations have been taken from the text of the nomination file, and there are many others we don't cite because of lack of time. It is expected that the nomination has to give an answer how the inscription of the element will contribute to visibility and awareness of the nominated, of the ICH in general. But it also obvious that the very fact of inscription of the nominated element on the UNESCO lists of intangible cultural heritage makes a great effect on increasing visibility of intangible heritage in general and raises awareness of any national society of its significance, as we could observe this process in Azerbaijan. It definitely raises social and cultural status of such heritage. The Petrikivka painting is an art tradition of exceptional cultural value and significance for Ukraine. We agree with the position of the subsidiary body that the state parties are to give importance to preparation of the nominations, but the subsidiary body and consultative body should keep a reasonable balance between recognition of the quality of the file and recognition of the value of the nominated element. The quality of the file should not be valued higher than cultural value of the element itself and its significance for the national culture, or it would contradict the spirit of the convention. Let me remind that spirit of convention is to support intangible heritage all over the world, to help national communities to safeguard their living traditions. We passed our amendment to this point to the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Indonesia, the floor is yours. Please follow the schedule. 2 minutes we have.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, distinguished fellow state members of the committee. Taking note of the evaluation of the subsidiary body of this file, and taking note also of the comments which have been introduced by the delegation of Brazil and also others, and also just now Azerbaijan. Indonesia would like to request the delegation of Ukraine through the chairperson to answer question specifically indicating within the files itself regarding 2 questions. Firstly, how this inscription may encourage dialogue among communities, groups and individuals, which is related to criteria R2, and secondly, how the process of participation of the community, how this is indicated within the file. I feel that if the delegation of Ukraine will reply to these 2 questions, indicating the texts within the file, and some of these have been touched on just now by Azerbaijan, then this may help our committee to come to an informed decision on this file, keeping in mind not just the letter of this convention, but the spirit of the convention, as just mentioned by Azerbaijan. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Tunisia, please.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. عندما نتفحص الملف نجد في الواقع أنه يتضمن العديد من الوثائق التي تثبت وجود دعم جدي لهذا الترشح، وهذا يعني وجود مسارات من التفاعل والمشاركة الواسعة من هذه المجموعات، إلا إذا ما شككنا في صحة هذا الوثائق أصلا، ونعتقد هذا غير معقول. لهذا نعتبر أن المعيار أو أن الملف قد استوفى المعيار رقم 4 إلى حد ما، ومع ذلك فنحن نطلب من الوفد الأوكراني أن يمدنا توضيحات بهذا الخصوص. شكرا.
Thank you, Tunisia. Now we're going to Namibia.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We also, as Namibia, would have said much, but all Greece, Brazil, and Azerbaijan said what we say. So I would like Ukraine to please explain to us, and we would associate much with what the other countries have said. Thank you.
Thank you. Kyrgyzstan.
Thank you, Chairperson. Kyrgyzstan supports the points expressed by the delegations of Azerbaijan and Indonesia. And in terms of the point R2, we would like to comment that cultural value is sufficiently expressed in the nomination file, and probably the Ukrainian delegation could more elaborate how the inscription will encourage dialogue among communities, groups, or individuals at the national level. Thank you.
Thank you. Uganda, please.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I would like to thank Ukraine for nominating this element of Petrikiva. Under criteria 2, Chairperson, in the nomination file under section 2, Ukraine clearly indicated that awareness would be raised through the establishment of a regional website, printing information brochures, initiating TV programs. And Chairperson, these activities of awareness raising actually help the element also to create visibility. And therefore, Uganda feels that criteria U2 is responded to in view of the fact that it is aligned or responds to Article 14 of the Convention, which says that when these activities are promoted, it encourages sharing information which is aimed at the public, and therefore we feel that that criteria is responded to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. China, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for finally giving me the floor. And although our delegation is one of the first delegation to ask for the floor, maybe we're a little bit too close to the podium. And our delegation like to take this opportunity to express our appreciation to Ukraine for submitting its very first nomination. And also we'd like to share the same view with the delegation of Greece, Brazil, Egypt, Nicaragua, and Indonesia. And also we supported their proposed amendment put forward by Azerbaijan. As we look through the nomination file, we can obviously feel the strong willingness and high expectation of the local communities. However, according to the evaluation of the subsidiary body, R2 and R4 are not completely satisfied. So regarding to R4, we can tell from section 4 of the nomination form that it annexes many local communities and institutions are involved. The local government can even held a public hearing and made its decision. So we'd like to join others delegations in asking the chairman could kindly give the submitting state, Ukraine, to elaborate more on the process of getting the informed consent from the communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China. And Latvia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Latvia also would like to welcome the nomination submitted by Ukraine, which is the first nomination submitted by this state party. And we also appreciate the due and attentive work of the subsidiary body carried out on the evaluation of this particular nomination. We would like to express our support for the educational initiatives implemented by Ukraine in order to sensitize youngest generation to the local traditional crafts, which are also the measures described in this nomination file. And as already mentioned by other delegates, we also would like to draw the attention of the committee on certain responses that we do find within the nomination file concerning the objectives raised by a subsidiary body. Namely, on the criterion 4 and the participation of the community, we also would like to draw the attention of the committee to the annex of the nomination, where we find a consent of the so-called public council, which is a collective body consisting of several local society organizations. and where we also find a protocol of public hearing of Petrivka local community members, bringing together 115 persons for a discussion on the nomination initiative. So although we recognize that the text of the nomination could be considerably more explicit on this particular issue of community involvement, we also see that there have been rather considerable efforts to involve community within the nomination process. So in this regard, we would like to join the expression of considerations already expressed by Brazil and Egypt in particular. And then for the criterion 2, on the visibility and awareness, we also see that there are some initiatives envisaged to be carried out after the inscription, including on local and more generally Ukrainian society level. In conclusion to the considerations expressed, we do acknowledge that we would have welcomed a more explicit description of these aspects in the core text of the nomination file, although we recognize that the responses are not entirely absent from the file in its totality. Thank you.
Thank you, Latvia. Belgium, please.
Thank you very much. I think it's important not to mix up the evaluation of a file and an evaluation of the value of the cultural element. The subsidiary body did not evaluate the value of an item of intangible cultural heritage, as they explicitly stressed. So I don't think we should mix up these discourses. This is not the World Heritage Convention. And a specific question about criterion R4, the participation of communities, groups and individuals. We are very interested to know how a number of these groups have actively participated in preparing and elaborating the nomination at all stages. And while reading this document, we could not find for a number of groups, and we would like to have the member state explain, for instance, the Petrivka Organization of Veterans, or the All Ukrainian Sport Community Colossus, or the Ukrainian Social Democratic Youth Union, or the Farmers and Landlords Associations, how they participated at all stages in this nomination. In the file we could not find it out, and we would like to have some explanations. Thank you.
Thank you. So we now... Uruguay, please, sorry. I didn't see. So, Uruguay.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Esta delegación de Uruguay reconoce, antes que nada, la calidad de la propuesta realizada por Ucrania como una primera tentativa de tener su patrimonio inmaterial. También reconocemos, por casi enésima vez, la calidad de los informes del órgano subsidiario, en el cual nos da una muestra cabal del estudio en profundidad que han hecho de cada una de las propuestas. Pero con todo, para que esta delegación tome decisión en este exacto tema, para que tome decisión en este tema, nos adscribimos entonces a las propuestas de aquellas delegaciones que propugnan para que Ucrania haga una nueva explicación sobre las interrogantes que se han planteado. Muchas gracias.
Thank you. So now I would like to give the floor to the state part briefly for the brief answer to the questions which have been raised, to clarify the positions which are not clearly reflected in the file. Please, the floor is given to Ukraine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to make my intervention very short, just with regard to criterion R4, as the question was raised with regard to this particular criterion. In clarifying this point, I would like to mention that the involvement of the communities was wide, direct and first-hand in the preparation of the nomination file. This process, we believe, is reflected in the file, in particular in the annexes, but also in the file. First of all, you see that the nomination file contains information in sections 4b and section 5 we have information that community is the initiator of the inscription of the element to the national inventory and participated in the inventory making process as stipulated by Articles 11 and Article 12 of the Convention. Also, the file includes a number of documents demonstrating the very process of preparation, starting by its initiation by the bearers of the element, as well as its extensive involvement and support by the different local and regional communities. As you see, you have the mention of the farmers. In section 1.1, you have information that Petrikivka people decorate their living quarters, household things, and items of this decorative art. So it does not concern only the practitioners, but basically many people who practice this art. Every single element signifies something. You can find it in architecture, on different supports, on wood, on glass. So this would probably, in my view, answer the question of the distinguished representative of Belgium, that this is extended not only just to the community, but this is a part of the measures to promote awareness about the element, and it is successful. Just to cite that you can find information about meeting of public organizations of community of Petrikivka on pages 20, on pages 21, on pages 19 and 16. You have numbers of practitioners, 115 people who participated in the meeting of the community of the village of Petrikivka. There is reference also to the participation of 800 people at the meeting of the Petrikivka district community. We believe that this information we would hope that it would be considered. All these measures are part of a broader context aimed at ensuring sustainable development of the communities. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you for this information. I consider that the committee members must take into consideration. So I think that we have to proceed to the discussion of the draft decision. So we have it on the screen, and there are some amendments, as far as I understand, were proposed. Brazil, please. I see on the text, yes, Azerbaijan, Brazil. So Brazil, welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I think the answer given by Ukraine goes in line with what we had thought in the beginning, that if you go through the supporting document, it gives enough evidence of the participation of the community, which are most of them listed in the nomination dossier. So, and also if you go in together with the criteria 3, which is verified by the consultative body, it says that the safeguarding measures will be carried out by various school, research, and administrative organizations in the region. So, so reading the criteria 3 that had been verified by the subsidiary body, together with the evidence that we found in the supporting documentation, we're proposing the following amendment, proposing that criteria 4 is verified. We say that we propose the following: the wide participation of practitioners of Petrikivka decorative painting in the nomination process is reflected in the safeguarding measures proposed, and the nomination includes evidence of the free, prior and informed consent. Yeah, that's our proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. Azerbaijan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As our expert mentioned in the general debates about this nomination, I would like to reiterate that in the nomination file there are plenty of information which satisfies the criterion R2, and but due to some misplacement or this information are dispersed, maybe the members of the subsidiary body did not feel that this criterion is met. So with this in mind, my delegation would like to propose the amendment to the criterion R2. Thank you very much. And it is following, it's on the screen, and I don't think that we should read that out. Thank you.
Kyrgyzstan, please.
Kyrgyzstan does support the amendments made by Brazil and Azerbaijan.
Thank you. We will proceed now paragraph by paragraph. It will be easiest to understand the situation and clarify. So we proceed to the proposal given to the R2, Azerbaijan and Kyrgyzstan. Inscription of Petrivka, the decorative painting of the representative list could promote greater visibility of the intangible cultural heritage by encouraging dialogue between traditional crafts practitioners and the national and international levels. I'm looking for the support of this definition. Who are in favor of that? Greece, Nicaragua, Brazil, Egypt, China, Namibia, Latvia, Uruguay, Madagascar, Tunisia, Indonesia, Uganda. So we have majority, I mean, in the appreciation of this position, number 2. If there are no objections, principal objections, I hope no, we will accept the R2 in this kind. So we accept R2 like that. Now we are coming to the R4, proposal of Brazil. The wide participation of practitioners of Petrivka decorative painting in the nomination proceeds in reflecting the safeguarding measures proposed, and the nomination includes evidence of their free, prior and informed consent. I think that we should also have the support to that. Kyrgyzstan, Uruguay, Uganda, Azerbaijan, Madagascar. Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to speak if possible.
Definitely. Madagascar, Tunisia, Egypt, Namibia. Please. Okay, first you give the floor to you. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to have the opportunity to give an opinion before going to seeing the sentiment of the room. Mr. Chairman, the same committee with the same... First of all, I want to congratulate Ukraine for presenting this file with a very beautiful element, and we do appreciate the effort made in the presentation. And we do also thank the subsidiary body, because as we heard, this was discussed very long, and it is always said that the recommendation to inscribe or not to inscribe does not constitute a judgment of the merit of the element itself, but reflects the adequacy of the information presented in the file. Mr. Chairman, it's a method of work that we have adopted, and I would like to recall all the members of this committee, who are the same members who took a decision 1 year ago in Paris in our 7th session of the committee meeting. The same members here present decided that the information placed in inappropriate sections of the nomination cannot be taken into consideration, and invite state parties to ensure that information is provided in its proper place. Mr. Chairman, the form is very clear. When the form asks a description and we have a list, we don't intend to say that there was not a participation, but we are saying the information is not in the correct place. So I would like to recall our members
that we took a decision, and maybe this reference to R4 should be amended in such a way that we could ask for a referral of the file, because the information is not given in the file. Thank you.
Thank you, Grenada. Burkina Faso, please.
Merci bien, Monsieur le Président. Je voudrais tout d'abord féliciter l'Ukraine pour cette première candidature soumise pour inscription sur la liste représentative. Notre délégation, effectivement, a des doutes concernant, effectivement, donc, ce critère 4 concernant la participation des communautés. Et je crois qu'une question avait été posée par la Belgique, justement, concernant le rôle et l'implication de certaines communautés qui sont listées au niveau de ce document. Parce que nous avons, par exemple, la communauté de Petrikivska. Je pense que cette communauté, effectivement, englobe peut-être toute la population. Mais lorsque nous voyons apparaître encore plus tard l'Organisation des anciens combattants, l'Union syndicale des hommes d'État, l'association, la communauté sportive ukrainienne, je crois que la question était de savoir effectivement quel a été le rôle donc, de toutes ces communautés-là dans l'élaboration de la candidature et quel est le lien justement de ces communautés-là qui sont listées ici avec l'élément en question. Je crois que je n'ai pas en tout cas obtenu une réponse satisfaisante à cette question et c'est pour cela que je souscris donc à l'amendement proposé tout à l'heure par Grenade.
Belgium.
We'd like to support the opinions expressed by Grenada and Burkina Faso. Thank you.
Indonesia.
The delegation of Indonesia finds the information to be in its correct place in the file, and this has been pointed out by several delegations, including Azerbaijan and Brazil and others. Indonesia would like to associate itself with the amendment which is proposed by Brazil and supported by Kyrgyzstan, Uruguay and others. Thank you.
Thank you. Nicaragua, please.
Muchas gracias, señor presidente. Nosotros también encontramos que hay suficiente explicación para que se cumpla el criterio R4 y en tal sentido estamos apoyando la propuesta hecha por Brasil, Kyrgyzstán, Uruguay y demás países. Muchas gracias.
Greece, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, Mr. Chairman. On the question of what is the connection of several organizations like the Veterans or the Social Democratic Party or whatever in the element, I think that the Convention says that the ground that we stand is the communities and the sense of identity they gain. So if all these organizations feel associated to this particular cultural element as the Petrikivka painting, I do not find their inclusion in the list inappropriate. On the other hand, if for some reason their endorsement of the inscription of the element is thought to be a flaw in the file, the other organizations that are really involved in the element, the painters, the community as a whole, if they are not given the chance to inscribe this, they would feel defeated. And this is something that we should take very seriously under consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Peru, please.
Gracias, señor presidente. La delegación del Perú considera que debemos ser plenamente consistentes con las decisiones que adopta el propio comité y en ese sentido respaldamos lo expresado por la delegación de Granada hace unos minutos. Gracias.
Thank you. And Egypt.
شكرا سيد الرئيس. إننا ندعم بدء ما ذهب إليه مندوب البرازيل وغيره من الزملاء ونرى أنه مع وجاهة الاحترام للمعايير التي وضعت، إلا أن هناك رأيا آخر سيد الرئيس هو النظر إلى الموضوع ككل، وليس النظر إلى كل معيار منفصلا عن غيره من المعايير. فإذا كان النقص في استكمال أحد المعايير وجد في مكان آخر يمكن أن يقنعنا بأن الملف قد استوفى من ناحية الموضوع ما هو مطلوب لتسجيله، فإنني أرى أن نتغاضى عن هذا الجانب الشكلي، ومن ثم أعيد التأكيد على أننا ندعم قرار البرازيل أو اقتراح البرازيل واليونان وغيرهم من الزملاء. شكرا جزيلا.
Brazil, please, the floor is yours.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not going to add anything to what we had already said, but I really think Grenada and Peru have a point that the committee needs to review its working methods, because it's true that we evaluate nominations, but in the end what we inscribe is the elements, not the nomination. So when inscribing the elements, we need to understand if all the criteria are fulfilled. And we believe that even though the nomination, they were supposed to describe how the committees were implicated, it didn't. It listed. But then when you go to the supporting material, you see how they were implicated. So I think we have to make an assessment as a whole. But I do agree with Peru and Grenada. We need to review this process. It's true. Thank you.
Now, here we are. So, according to the procedure, we have first now to revise and to discuss the Brazilian proposal, because it came earlier, so first. So, I look for support of this proposal. It is written that Brazil, Kyrgyzstan, Uruguay, Uganda, Azerbaijan, Madagascar, Tunisia, Egypt, Namibia, Indonesia, Nicaragua, China, Egypt supported, Nigeria, Greece, so how many we have? We have majority. So if we are coming to the decision according to consensus in our committee, so my vision is as following, that if majority is voting in favor of the Brazilian proposal, and there are no strict and very, principal objections from the other members of the committee, then we can approve it in this version, if you don't mind. So we approve paragraph R4 in the transcription given by Brazil and supported by majority of the committee. Approved. So we go further. Number 3. I think that it was a sense, very important sense in the proposal of the countries concerned evaluation, but it must be given in the document in general, I think, not here in the file. So number 3 is inscribes Petrirka decorative painting in a phenomenon of the Ukrainian ornament folk and the representative list of UNESCO. I don't see any objections in this case, and I'm thankful to the committee members for this unanimous decision. Thank you very much. Inscribed. I understand the feeling of Ukrainian friends, but I first would like to give them the floor for 2 minutes. Ukrainian delegations, please make...
Thank you very much. We are very emotional because it's this very Ukrainian nomination. Honorable Mr. Chairperson, distinguished members of the committee, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Ukrainian government, representatives of local communities, and I can say on behalf of all Ukrainians, we wish to express our deepest appreciation and gratitude to the support of the inscription of Petrikivka painting, the first ever Ukrainian element into the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. We also wish to express our gratitude to the subsidiary body for their work, their thorough and careful examination of our file, to the members of the committee for their support and trust, to the UNESCO Secretariat for all their help, as well as to all the experts for their active participation in the preparation of nomination. It is my big privilege also to extend our deepest gratitude to Azerbaijan, our wonderful host country, for sincere and warm hospitality and, of course, an exceptional organization of work of this international forum. Most of the bearers of the element are women. Many of them are being of old age. The inscription is their recognition of their ancestors' living traditions that are transmitted from generation to generation. We are especially grateful that you have offered to these people the chance to see the element become acknowledged and respected. This is an exceptional event for Ukraine, for the Ukrainian people, especially for the community of Petrikivka, who is over here, and definitely for all the Ukrainian community living around the whole world. Petrikivka painting is an inseparable part of the Ukrainian identity, a sense of pride, and one of its symbols. This inscription will reinforce the national identity and dignity of the not only local and regional community, but of the nation as a whole. Ukraine would like also to confirm the intention to reinforce the capacity building and act in the spirit of 2003 Convention, promoting and facilitating the achievement of main goals of the Convention, both within our country and at the international level. We believe that inscription on the element to the representative list will contribute to encouragement of intercultural dialogue and strengthening of international cooperation, as well as recognition of intangible cultural heritage as a crucial source of diversity and sustainable development. Thank you very much for your attention from the all heart and all our souls. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much. We once more congratulate Ukraine, and we are proceeding to the discussion of the item 8.30 presented by Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. Please, the floor is given to Mr. Sconti, the chairperson.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Nous arrivons maintenant à l'avant-dernière candidature à la liste représentative présentée par la République bolivarienne du Venezuela, la Parranda de San Pedro de Guarenas et Guatir. Dans les villes de Guarenas et Guatir, les fidèles célèbrent le jour de Saint-Pierre par une série de fêtes et de rituels populaires. Des images vénérées du saint accompagnées de drapeaux et de banderoles, des musiciens, des danseurs et des troubadours défilent dans les rues en rejouant l'histoire de Saint-Pierre qui aurait guéri la fille d'un esclave. Les femmes décorent l'église, habillent l'image du saint et cuisinent des plats traditionnels. Les adultes et les enfants de la communauté célèbrent une tradition pleine de vie qui symbolise et permet de renforcer la lutte contre l'injustice et les inégalités. Lors de son évaluation de cette candidature, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré qu'elle satisfait l'ensemble des 5 critères. Nous avons particulièrement apprécié la grande mobilisation des membres de la communauté qui transmettent leur musique, leur danse et leur artisanat aux jeunes générations, au sein des familles, des écoles et des centres culturels. Bien que l'organe subsidiaire ait souhaité trouver dans ce dossier des mesures de sauvegarde plus précises, il a conclu que le dossier démontre que le critère R3 est rempli de manière satisfaisante. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont donc recommandé que la parranda de San Pedro de Guarenas et Guatir soit inscrite sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much to the members of Subsidiary Body for evaluation of this nomination. And there is a proposal to inscribe. So, are there any other opinions? I don't see any. The file is inscribed. Congratulations. May I give the floor to the representatives of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela?
Buenas tardes, pudiéramos decir, ya cerca de la 1 de la tarde. En nuestro país, en Venezuela, todavía es de madrugada, así que los venezolanos y venezolanas amanecerán hoy con esta grandísima noticia. Y qué feliz coincidencia que la UNESCO y el gobierno de Azerbaiyán hayan establecido este acuerdo de una reunión en Bakú para celebrar los 10 años de esta importante convención, porque coincidimos con el ministro de Cultura y Turismo de este país cuando señaló que este encuentro contribuye a estrechar los lazos de amistad entre los países. Todos lo sabemos. Qué feliz coincidencia que el órgano subsidiario haya evaluado positivamente esta candidatura y que el Comité Intergubernamental y todos los aquí presentes hayan coincidido con un aplauso grande para demostrar el interés en esta manifestación de nuestra República Bolivariana de Venezuela. Es el saber del pueblo con arraigo en esas poblaciones de Guarenas y Guatire. Se trata de costumbres ancestrales, creencias, manifestaciones de cultura que contribuyen a promover el diálogo y la creatividad. Nuestro gobierno bolivariano asume el compromiso de la salvaguarda de este bien patrimonial. Es nuestra responsabilidad, porque así lo establece nuestra Constitución, las culturas populares constitutivas de la venezolanidad gozan de atención especial. Además, porque desde el año 2007, una vez que la Asamblea Nacional de nuestro país aprobó en Caracas una ley en respaldo a la Convención de la UNESCO para la salvaguarda del patrimonio cultural inmaterial, se puso en práctica un conjunto de acciones para dar cumplimiento a su contenido y de esta manera se ha impulsado la creación de un centro de la diversidad cultural vinculado plenamente a los 23 estados y a los 336 municipios, donde las comunidades que reconocen plenamente su patrimonio cultural inmaterial se organizan en redes y participan constantemente de la protección de este patrimonio. La experiencia en tan corto tiempo de Venezuela, de nuestra República, al estar incluida no solo en el Comité Intergubernamental para la Salvaguarda del Patrimonio Cultural Inmaterial, sino también en el propio órgano subsidiario, nos ha alentado, le ha dado a nuestro país una gran fortaleza y lo ha integrado mucho más a América Latina y al Caribe y a los pueblos hermanos del mundo. Pero dejemos que sea un integrante de nuestra parranda de San Pedro quien pueda decir con su traje puesto y su rostro tiznado lo que significa para ellos.
Bien, después de haber transcurrido más de 200 años, hoy se reconoce ante el mundo una tradición de alto contenido social y comunitario arraigado en dos pueblos hermanos de Venezuela, Guarenas y Guatire. Por eso, la parranda de San Pedro, representada en este histórico momento en Bakú por un grupo de cultores, se siente honrada por esta declaratoria como Patrimonio Cultural Inmaterial de la Humanidad. Hoy abrazamos al mundo en nombre de la República Bolivariana de Venezuela y lloramos de alegría tomados de la mano en una sola parranda que ahora queremos demostrar con nuestros cantos, baile y música. Voy a citar una copla de las tantas que se cantan cada 29 de junio. Mi Guatire y mi Guarenas ya celebran sin cesar la parranda de San Pedro, patrimonio inmaterial. Adelante, sanpedreños.
Thank you, Venezuela. Thank you very much, Venezuela. Congratulations, congratulations. It's really a great chance to have representatives of different cultures to show their intangible heritage during the session. I think it's very touching and very necessary for all of us. Thank you very much to Venezuela, and now we proceed to the last application of the day and of the session. So this is the application 831 presented by Vietnam. Please, the chairperson of the Subsidiary Body, Mr. Conte, the floor is yours.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président. Je vous introduis à présent la dernière candidature que le comité doit examiner. Elle est présentée par le Vietnam. L'art du Don Sataitu. Je présente mes excuses si ma prononciation a écorché le nom de l'élément. Le Vietnam, l'art du Don Sataitu, musique et chant dans le sud du Vietnam. Interprété lors de festivals, de célébrations et de rituels d'anniversaire de décès, le Don Sataitu est un art musical qui fait écho au mode de vie et au travail dans les champs et les rivières du sud du Vietnam. Les instrumentistes et les chanteurs expriment des émotions et des sentiments en improvisant, en ornementant et en faisant des variations sur la structure mélodique et les principaux motifs rythmiques des morceaux qui sont basés sur 20 chansons principales et 72 chansons classiques. Le Don Sataitu se transmet oralement par imitation des maîtres aux étudiants. Lors de son évaluation, l'organe subsidiaire a considéré que la candidature remplit les 5 critères. Nous avons pris note de l'engagement des participants à cet élément, des experts et des institutions spécialisées, ainsi que du soutien du gouvernement pour la mise en œuvre des mesures de sauvegarde, principalement vouées à la transmission formelle et non formelle de la musique et des chants. L'organe subsidiaire, Monsieur le Président, a également apprécié le remarquable respect mutuel manifesté pendant les échanges culturels entre les différents groupes ethniques qui pratiquent cet élément. La participation ainsi que le consentement libre, préalable et éclairé d'un certain nombre de groupes concernés par l'art du Don Sataitu, musique et chant dans le sud du Vietnam, ils sont démontrés au critère R4. Les membres de l'organe subsidiaire ont par conséquent recommandé que l'art du Don Sataitu, musique et chant dans le sud du Vietnam, soit inscrit sur la liste représentative. Merci, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you. We have positive proposals from the subsidiary body to this file. I don't see any comments and any other recommendations. So we declare the file from Vietnam, the nomination for Art of Dong Cai Tai Tu, music and song in the southern Vietnam, inscribed in the UNESCO Intangible Heritage List. We congratulate our Vietnamese delegation and would like to give the floor to the state's part.
Kính thưa Ngài Chủ tịch, kính thưa các quý bà, quý ông, 10 năm qua, Công ước năm 2003 của UNESCO đã được đồng hành cùng với chúng tôi trong sự nghiệp bảo vệ di sản văn hóa phi vật thể. Công ước này là công cụ pháp lý, là công cụ hướng dẫn chuyên môn cho chúng tôi trong mọi hoạt động thực hành để bảo vệ di sản. Thực thi công ước, thực thi luật di sản văn hóa. Đến nay, ở Việt Nam có 20.000 di sản văn hóa phi vật thể được kiểm kê. 48 di sản đã được đưa vào danh mục quốc gia để bảo vệ. Hàng trăm tổ chức phi chính phủ tham gia bảo vệ di sản. Hàng ngàn cộng đồng chủ thể và người bảo vệ di sản đã được tập huấn nâng cao năng lực bảo vệ di sản. Dẫu có nhiều khó khăn, thách thức, song Việt Nam đã và tiếp tục cam kết mạnh mẽ để bảo vệ di sản văn hóa phi vật thể vì sự đa dạng văn hóa của nhân loại. Tôi là Thứ trưởng Bộ Văn hóa Thể thao Du lịch của Việt Nam, thay mặt đoàn đại biểu Việt Nam, đặc biệt là thay mặt đoàn đại biểu đến từ thành phố Hồ Chí Minh và tỉnh Bạc Liêu, đại diện cho 21 tỉnh thành là cộng đồng chủ thể của đờn ca tài tử vừa được ghi danh vào danh sách đại diện năm 2013. Tôi xin bày tỏ lời cảm ơn chân thành và sâu sắc nhất tới Ủy ban, Hội đồng Tư vấn, Ban Thư ký đã ghi nhận đề xuất ứng cử của Việt Nam và trao cho chúng tôi vinh dự và trách nhiệm cao quý để bảo vệ di sản. Đờn ca tài tử là một trong những di sản có sức sống mạnh mẽ và lan rộng ở tất cả các nước Việt Nam. Đờn ca tài tử đích thực là sự sáng tạo và là bản sắc của cộng đồng dân cư ở Nam Bộ ở Việt Nam. Chúng tôi tin tưởng rằng với sự ghi danh này, đờn ca tài tử sẽ tiếp tục được bảo vệ với những biện pháp tốt nhất, xứng đáng là di sản của nhân loại. Thay mặt Bộ Văn hóa Thể thao và Du lịch của Việt Nam, thay mặt chính quyền địa phương và cộng đồng 21 tỉnh thành phố chủ thể của di sản đờn ca tài tử, chúng tôi cam kết thực hiện công ước năm 2013 và chương trình hành động bảo vệ đờn ca tài tử. Trân trọng cảm ơn và cảm ơn rất nhiều nước chủ nhà Kazakhstan đã tổ chức hội nghị thành công. Xin chúc mừng những lời tốt đẹp nhất đến các quý bà và quý ông. Chúng tôi kính mời toàn thể hội nghị đến dự biểu diễn đờn ca tài tử vào lúc 13 giờ ngày 6 tháng 12 năm 2013 tại tầng 2 của khách sạn này. Xin trân trọng cảm ơn.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So, as dear committee members, we have completed the last of our 28 individual nominations. We once more congratulate all the delegations which are inscribed and which submitted their files. On behalf of all the delegations and committee members, I would like to thank the chair of the subsidiary body and rapporteur for the very efficient work which was done during the preparation of this session, during this certain period of time, and we highly appreciate your activity and evaluation of the intangible heritage of different countries in favor of the all efficiently work of all the committees. Thank you very much, and you can proceed to your places. Thank you. So, I would like to propose the following. We have to come to the decision on 8.8, like a full version, but before that, I think that it will be better if we will proceed with this at the beginning of the afternoon session. And now we will give the floor to our honorable guest, the former Director General of the UNESCO, Mr. Matsura First of all, I would like to all of us to greet him and to invite him to the podium. To address the session with his valuable comments and ideas. And once more, I would like to note that today we are celebrating the 10th anniversary of Convention. And the history takes us back to this 10-year period. And we know that among the authors and the men who initiated and started all these conventions, procedures and ideas was Honorable Mr. Matsoura. So you are mostly welcome. Thank you for joining our conference, and thank you once more. Welcome in Azerbaijan. This is not your first visit, but we hope this is one of the most impressive, because you are at the biggest session in Azerbaijan. Thank you very much. Welcome, Mr. Matsoura.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I am very, very grateful to you, first, for inviting me to Baku on the occasion of the 10th anniversary to attend the Intangible Cultural Heritage Committee. And I am very, very grateful to you for letting me listen to the debates and discussions that have taken place this morning. I have listened to them with a great deal of interest. First of all, I would like to extend my wholehearted congratulations to those countries, I believe 25, which have received the new inscription of their proposed elements. And I do hope those who have not succeeded this time, they will succeed on the next occasion. Having listened to these debates with a great deal of interest, I have become very impressed by the enthusiasm and the great interest with which you are pursuing your work under very able chairmanship of the Minister of Culture from Azerbaijan. In the meantime, if you allow me, I would like to indulge in a little bit nostalgic recollection of the process that led to the adoption of the convention, ICT convention, just 10 years ago at the General Conference in UNESCO. As the chair said, when I became the Director General of UNESCO in November 1999, therefore more than 14 years ago, I did say in my inaugural speech, UNESCO must establish new scheme of protecting intangible cultural heritage. I was very happy to note that at that General Conference, member states had adopted a decision to proceed to establish the declaration of masterpieces of intangible cultural heritage. I said that would be a very important step forward. Nevertheless, that's not sufficient. We have to go further beyond towards establishing a new scheme. And I did not say in my inaugural speech it ought to be in the form of a new international convention, but several months later I did say as the executive committee it must take the form of a new international convention. And what was most crucial at that stage was to define what types of intangible cultural heritage should be covered by such a new international convention. Therefore, with the support from many member states, with support of the executive committee, and finally with the support of the General Conference, I proceeded to organize a series of expert meetings to discuss the definition of intangible cultural heritage to be covered by a new international convention. It was not an easy task, but I was very grateful to many international experts, many experts from many countries that had participated in the process of debate. So they came out with a set of recommendations, very positive recommendations. Therefore, I was very gratified at the moment that now I would be in a position to propose to the member states to proceed, have formal negotiations, on the establishment of a new convention. The process was not an easy process. Certainly many member states immediately supported my proposal, but unfortunately there was also reluctance, even opposition on the part of some member states to the creation of such a new international legal scheme. Nevertheless, looking back at the General Conference held in 2003, namely 10 years ago, the proposal approved by the the proposal I made to the Executive Committee and the proposal accepted by the Executive Committee did receive very, very strong support. In fact, no opposition whatsoever, very strong support from more than 100 countries. Nevertheless, there were some abstentions. I'm very happy to note, listening to the debates and discussions that have taken place, and also looking at the number of people that have come here from all over the world. I'm very happy that the ICH Convention of 2003 has taken root, has been accepted very widely by member states. When I look at the home page of UNESCO a couple of months ago, trying to find out how many member states have ratified the ICH Convention, that was several months ago, it was 153. I was quite impressed by the number, but today I have just learned from the Secretariat, the number has even increased to 157, while 2 more countries are waiting certification from the legal office of the UNESCO Secretariat. Therefore, one can say close to 160 countries have ratified the ICH Convention. That does indicate, perhaps I should add, close to 160 countries have ratified the convention within a very, very short period of time. That indicates how enthusiastic member states have become about the convention, about the inscription of their intangible cultural heritage to the list, in particular to the representative list of the convention. Now one can claim, with conviction that the ICH Convention has become a very, very popular convention of UNESCO, together with the World Heritage Convention of 1972, which has been ratified, I understand, by 190 countries. But I'm very sure the number of countries that have ratified the ICH Convention will continue to grow. Therefore, UNESCO should be proud of having these 2 conventions, the World Heritage Convention and ICH Convention, in order to protect all types of cultural heritage of mankind. Of course, we should not forget, we have, 4 other important, international conventions in the area of cultural heritage and culture, the Convention of 54, Convention of 70, Convention of 2001 on the protection of underwater heritage, and also the Convention on Diversity of Cultural Expressions of 2005. Altogether, 6 conventions. I'm very happy UNESCO now has these 6 conventions in order to protect all types of cultural heritage and culture of humankind. But among them, I'm very happy to note the ICH Convention has become very, very popular. And now, it's been loved by many, many countries. At the end, I would like to once again, thank the Minister of Culture who chaired the committee meeting in such a skillful way for having me, for giving me the floor to say a few words of greetings to all participants. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mr. Matsura. It's really very good reflections of the history of this convention, and your proud is absolutely true proud for the result of the work since the beginning during these 10 years, because numerous countries supporting this convention started to apply to the intangible heritage from the new point of view, and the mankind in general started to evaluate the cultural expressions which we can't touch too from a totally new point of view. The sense and importance of the intangible heritage which we acquired after joining to the convention brought us to a new understanding of the values of the mankind. So thank you very much once more, and we would like to proceed with the floor to Mr. Bandarin, who is Assistant General Director, acting.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And dear Mr. Matsura, dear Koichiro, on behalf of the Director General and, of course, in my name, I would like to welcome you on this meeting and on this podium again. You have been for 10 years our Director General, and I think we all know that your legacy is a very impressive one. You mentioned 6 conventions of UNESCO for culture, but let's also remind everybody that 3 of them were actually done under your leadership, not to mention many other things that were accomplished during that decade. And I would like to, of course, to recall the Universal Declaration for Cultural Diversity, the Declaration Against the Intentional Destruction of Cultural Heritage, many other developments, including, although it was adopted after your mandate, the recommendation on the historical landscape, but all the preparation was done during your time. So thank you again very much for being with us again. It's always a pleasure to meet you when we meet you in Paris or in Japan or in other parts of the world, as we had recently in Phnom Penh and so on. It's always an opportunity to exchange with you and get your enlightened view on the future of UNESCO. So thank you again for being with us.
Thank you very much. And so we, on our schedule, we will proceed with the adoption of the Decision 8.8. At the moment, we start our meeting at 3 o'clock. Please make sure that we all be here in time. As I felt during the discussion of the nomination of Turkish coffee, the coffee will be served at between 3 and 6 p.m. outside the meeting room, so we can taste a little bit. As usual, NGOs working group going to meet between 2 and 3 in room Amirjan. So the cultural program is submitted to you for the evening, but I want you to be informed that we want to proceed the way that tomorrow we will finish our morning session at 1 o'clock, and then we will start our session at 4 tomorrow, to give the possibility to the members of committee, for those who want, and the guests, to go to the special tour for the old town, and to go to the center of the city to make some, I don't know, to have some free time, not to be too stuck in the hall. So after that, we will try to proceed as fast as possible to have the same time on Saturday. So, but by all means, thank you for your attention, thank you for your cooperation, and see you at 3 o'clock. Thank you very much.